Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to The Rundown. Tonight on the show, we have Dave Buzan. He is the best-selling author of two novels, the Legend series, In the Lair of Legends and In the Wrath of Legends. We're going to talk to Dave about his books, his upcoming work, and all things pop culture when we return.
I'm Janelle Shiki, indie horror author, and you are listening to The Rundown by CJ.
Hi, this is Quincy Briscoe. To all my fans, don't drink and drive.
Hey, welcome to the show, Dave.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah, you know, I was just telling my co-host, TC, before we went live, that I met you on social media right around the time that I met Janelle Shiki, who was on the show, and we immediately hit it off. And I took a liking to your books, and I'm going to tell you what grabbed me right off the bat was not only other people pumping your tires that you were such a great writer, but the covers of your books. And I know that they say that you can't judge a book by its cover, and but yours you can, because it's everything that those covers go to show. And for me, I had a wonderful time reading both of your books, and I can't wait for you to tell us about them. Tell us a little bit about you before we get into that.
Well, thanks for those comments. I actually owe a lot to the cover designer, David King, who works at Black Rose Writing. He did a ace's job with both of those covers. So I just can't thank him enough for all the time and attention he took to make these covers really pop. And particularly the second one, he took great care of trying to, you know, represent the story and what I had asked him to do with it. So I'm glad they appealed to you. And certainly something I hear all the time. Oh, great covers. So I'm really blessed to be able to have that.
No, I mean, I read a lot, and but like I said, the draw was the cover, and I was like, this cover's fantastic. Within the first 12 pages of reading your book, I think I messaged you back on social media, and I said I was gripped right away. And then I went back and I read some of the accolades for your book. I mean, you had some amazing people saying engrossing, wonderful, amazing, loved it from cover to cover. It was a level of intrigue of an already engrossing novel. I mean, that just spoke to me, in volumes. And then I deep dove into that first book, and I read well into the middle of the night and just couldn't put it down until I finished it.
It's just so wonderful to know. And when you had been reaching out, it's a great feeling for an author to know that they've connected with a reader and that, the reader is so involved in the book. So it just means a lot. So thank you for telling me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Now, tell our listening audience out there, I mean, you're a graduate of what, Vancouver Film School, you graduated in 94?
Yeah, I went there from 93 to 94. In high school, I started selling short stories, kind of to backtrack here. So that's when I started selling my first short stories. Yeah. And then I moved to magazine articles in the early 90s and then went to film school. And I went to film school because I wanted to be a director. Screenwriting just didn't enter into the equation. I just didn't give it any thought. And it was actually during screenwriting class there that I saw that I had a real talent for it. And so much so that when I graduated, I wrote 4 scripts, and it was the 4th one that got me my first agent, my first option. And then I spent all of my 20s and all of my 30s trying to break into that field. So that's kind of that. And then stepped away from creative writing for about 10 years. And then when I got the idea for In the Lair of Legends, I decided to write my first novel.
Yeah, what made you want to write your first novel? I mean, I did a little reading up on you other than, what we discussed as friends on social media. And I mean, you wrote 6 screenplays and then you stepped away from creative writing for almost a decade. What was the turnaround point for you?
Well, when I was stepping away from the creative writing, it was just a matter of consecutive heartache in the business. I had a lot of ups, a lot of downs. And there was times I had, for 2 of my 3 agents, one of them who had told me, because things were looking so good as to who was reading the script and who had optioned it.
Yeah.
And they said, "Oh, I'm not in this business if this isn't my next big sale. Like I don't belong in this business." Right. And of course it didn't happen. And my third agent, a few years later, she was so convinced that she had called me and said, "It's time to go looking for your beach house. Like this is a done deal."
Wow.
So we had a lot of those, and it just became a period where I just couldn't take it anymore. I just couldn't take that, and I decided to look in the mirror basically and to say, have I done everything I need to do, and can I just step away, knowing that I tried my best, and I had some successes, and it just wasn't going to work out for me in this field, and I made that decision. And so I just stepped away, and I had, no regrets about doing it up until about a decade later. There was a time during the pandemic, and I was general manager in an essential business, which was very difficult at the time. And Oregon was experiencing wildfires, our worst wildfire seasons in two decades or so. And it was just a day where I could look at the hills burning in the distance. My cousin had to be evacuated because the fire was getting close to his home, and the pandemic was going on. And I just felt like it was, end of the world stuff.
Wow.
And I just kind of felt ashamed. I just kind of looked out at everything, and I just said, I kind of walked away from something, and it just made me feel ashamed. And so that night I came home and I told my wife, I know I have to write a book. I have to do this. And it was just my Rocky Balboa moment,
right?
Where I knew I had to go through it, go the distance, and do it. And I've never written a long form. I had short stories and so on,
right.
and scripts, of course, but I've never written a long form novel before. So it was just jumping into the deep end without any prep.
Amazing. I mean, your first novel, in the Lair of Legends, it's a grand slam. I mean, so anything was going to come after that. I mean, I was hopeful that it was going to be just as good, and it was. And for our listening public out there, I mean, and I was just, telling TC before we went on the air, your first novel, in your duology, is Part 310 of Yuma, The Revenant, Last of the Mohicans, and it's got those quips from the 1980s and all the best action from them too. I mean, it's about an indigenous soldier that he heads up the Oregon. He heads up through Oregon by train carrying gold meant for the U.S. Army, and then there's a Nez Perce. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, that's right, Nez Perce.
Native American Indian a soldier on board named Jolon Winterhawk, and he finds out that the train's going to be ambushed by a vigilante who is going to steal the gold for himself. And there's also a Wayeti that's involved. Am I pronouncing that right?
Yeah, you did good. Very good.
So as I would say, and we like to keep things clean, all shit breaks loose. And from there on in, it was just a page burner for me. Tell us more about your first book and how you had to sweep in to the sequel, because I know it was difficult for you.
Well, when I was writing this, it was the intent just to be one and done. I just wanted to write one book. That's the way I framed it. That's certainly the way I ended it. And I did try to put everything that I love about everything. Like, to me, I was almost doing Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom on the page is kind of what I was doing. So I wanted every chapter to end kind of with that huge cliffhanger. How's he going to get out of this one? And through that, I just kind of threw everything creatively that I had in this book. I had a blast writing it, and I hope you can tell that when you're reading it.
Absolutely.
There was times my wife would come in laughing because she'd hear me cackling in the office as I was writing some of these one-liners or some of these things that were happening. I just had a great time. And of course there was a 6-day period when I thought I killed Jalon. I couldn't figure out how to get him out of it.
Right.
So it was a great experience that way. So it's just, I did want to write an 80s action movie on the page. I did want to have like the James Bond stunts in there, the Arnold one-liners, the action of Die Hard, kind of the monster mayhem of like Predator or Leviathan, and just kind of mix it together with this very, spiritual and philosophical and moral character in the center.
Yeah, and I mean, because originally your title wasn't in the Lair of Legends, was it? I know what it was. Gigantor.
Yes. Gigantor was the working title, if you'll.
They wouldn't take it over a Black Rose, though, huh? They wanted you to change it.
Black Rose actually, I got the contract with it, and so it was more of a suggestion. They had said that's the only suggestion they're going to have, and they left it up.
I like
me.
that first title. I'm not going to lie. I love the second choice too. Don't get me wrong, but I do.
Well, the first choice, I did have some early readers that did some of the early blurbs for me, and 6 out of 6 all wrote me to say, the title doesn't work. So that was one thing that kind of stuck with me. It's like, wow, everyone's saying that. And then, the owner of the company reached out and just said, we'd like to really express this as more of an action adventure novel than a horror novel, the way Gigantor comes across. So there was actually a line in the later part of the book where they're talking about the Lair of Legends, and that's just kind of where that title came from. But I don't miss Gigantor anymore because I think in the Lair of Legends speaks to the duality of the story,
right,
both in what what it represents, and particularly Winterhawk's subtext of looking for the duty in his life and what he had to go through to find it. So I think it works very well. So at first it was disconcerting and hard. It's like, man, I can't get used to this new title at all. But after 3 years now, I think it's a great one.
It is. You do a lot of research in your books. I mean, you take a deep dive. I can just tell. I mean, because there's no shirking some readers out there. They're going to have absolutely no knowledge, or they're going to have a working knowledge or an in-depth knowledge of time period, the culture, and stuff. I mean, you get right down to detail, even on the weapons in your books. And being a native Oregonian, the culture of the Indian culture in your area. And I mean, it's amazing. Your attention to detail really engrosses the reader more in depth, I think, and gives it a level of authenticity that's second to none.
Well, thank you. As a historical thriller writer, that's what I'm calling myself now, because the rest of my books seem to fall into that category. So the hard thing for me, of course, research is fun. I love it. I absolutely love it. And this one took about 3 months before I even put pen to paper at all.
Wow.
But it's just what to say, how much to say. To be honest, my first draft was 100,000 words. So I cut 30,000 words out of the first book to what it is now. And mainly it's a lot of those details that I cut out just to make it flow a little better. But when you're doing historical research, particularly with the Nez Perce and anything to do with my Native American characters, it's 100% what it is. Some of the other stuff, it's like two truths and a lie. So it's, can the weapons do that? Yeah, maybe. The hot air balloons, that's 100% accurate in terms of like the Army Corps.
Right.
But they don't maneuver like Fast and the Furious cars, things like that, right?
Sure.
So, yeah, I try to mix that in. So, the history part is absolutely correct, and it's fascinating to me, and I don't deviate from that. But then some of the technicalities around it, I kind of shade in some of that fiction. I had one early reader complain to me that it was totally unrealistic, and I was like, which part of your man-eating Sasquatch is not realistic to you? Sorry.
I mean, yeah, if you can take a liberty, that's way to take it.
Right. But what I'm really proud about with this book, and particularly the second book, but I've been hearing from a lot of Native readers who are very proud of the way the characters represented and so on. One of my best experiences ever was at the Rose City Comic-Con in 2023 when the book came out. I have these big, huge displays for the book there. Mm-hmm. And there was a Native American lady. She's probably 20, maybe 19. She walks by the table like 4 times. And finally she comes up to me and she goes, "Is that the hero?"
Really?
I said, yeah, that's the hero. She goes, "Wow, I've never seen that." And so, she bought a book. And I'll tell you, about 3 weeks later, I got a great email from her, and she was just over the moon and had her grandma read it. Her mom read it.
Wow.
Her aunt read it. So, I mean, that was just wonderful to hear.
Oh, absolutely. Now, is this the same woman that approached you that later got you involved with the Native American culture out there? I understand. I had seen a podcast that you were on maybe a year ago, and you were invited into their culture. Maybe that was prior to this, and they named you White Elk.
That's correct. A totally different experience and a
okay.
different tribe. Yeah, I'll condense it to a Reader's Digest condensed story here. I was a restaurant manager here in the Kaiser, Oregon area for 11 years. And we have the Chamala Indian tribe here in Kaiser, which is a big Native American community. And they were some of my best and favorite customers that I got to know over the years. And there was just the two elders approached me one day and just asked me if I'd like to be a part of their tribe as an honorary member. It was awesome. Just an incredible honor. And so they named me White Elk because they thought the way I treated them and everyone that they noticed throughout my career there was so different than my culture that I just stood out.
Wow.
So that was my name. And yeah, it's my official name. I have a great necklace that they made me. So it's kind of like my driver's license in a way.
That's
what
amazing.
They called it. And they are such great people. So much of the banter in the Lair of Legends and the Wrath of Legends comes from the way they spoke to each other. They have this great way of communicating with each other. It's just I don't want to say it's locker room banter, but boy, they have some zingers and it's just back and forth. So I was real comfortable in drawing upon that in some of the dialogue I was doing there.
They're amazingly spiritual people. I had discussing with you about prior to the podcast. My mother grew up with a best friend who was a Blackfoot Indian who relocated to Charlestown, Massachusetts, and they grew up together. And it's just amazing, the stories that she tells me. I can only imagine what you've experienced in your area. And it's your in-depth knowledge of the culture is second to none. It's absolutely amazing. I want to switch gears here. I want to bring TC in something, though, because I understand you're a film score aficionado, and you cannot write without listening to scores. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. It's impossible.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Because what's your favorite film score of all time?
My favorite film score is Rambo: First Blood Part 2 by Jerry Goldsmith, who is also my favorite composer.
I love Jerry Goldsmith.
Unbelievable. Jerry Goldsmith doesn't get the due he deserves from Hollywood, in my opinion. Okay, John Williams is the GOAT, in my opinion, and a lot of other opinions.
Right.
But, Jerry Goldsmith out there, he's right up there, if not on an equal playing field as John Williams. And I was just telling CJ before we were on the air, I love the Rambo soundtrack. The First Blood one from the original First Blood is so iconic, and it just makes you feel like you're actually in the woods, freezing, being hunted by the police.
Exactly. Yeah. His Rambo theme is my favorite theme of all time. So there's Star Wars, there's Jaws, of course, but the Rambo theme does it for me. So that's in First Blood. That's of course where he created it. But that motif that you're talking about with the woods on the piano that James Newton Howard imitated so well in the Fugitive score. But that was the go-to action motif throughout the 80s after Goldsmith invented it for First Blood. That's how you did. And Jerry actually called it sneaking around music. He had a hard time with those kinds of scenes. So he actually came up with that driving piano motif that's totally associated with the woods and Rambo's, sneaking around.
Yeah, he's like a chameleon hanging around the wilderness in there. My second favorite Jerry Goldsmith score is from Star Trek: The Motion Picture, when Scotty takes Kirk out to see the Enterprise for the first time.
Yes.
The well of emotion you get from that score, it still gives me goosebumps 40 some odd years later. Mm-hmm. It's the power of music. Now, I get what you're saying. When you're writing your stories, you have to have this music playing subliminally into your subconscious to get those juices flowing. If you don't have it, it's not there.
Yeah, film music is great. It offers what's called free association. So a free association, you can listen to it and say, like you were saying with Scotty, that's the Enterprise cue from Star Trek: The Motion Picture.
Right.
Or it could also be Winterhawk on his balloon. So the music can be tied to a film.
Wow,
but
yeah.
also can be tied to your own imagination and what you're listening to. For me, at least, I know there's some listeners that can't separate that, but I'm not one.
Because a great composer, I don't know who quoted this or where I heard this, is if you're watching the movie and the music is telling you the story.
Right. That's a
right.
silent character. I mean, it's a character in the film.
Right. I mean, it takes you along your journey.
It's tangible.
You know,
almost.
forget about the special effects and the acting and whatnot. The music carries you to the next scene or throughout the entire piece. It's just, I can't imagine films without it. I mean, I go to the movies to listen to the music most of the time, rather than to see what's actually going on screen. And it's unbelievable the way it just works. It's just, it's magic. It's the best special effect in films is music.
I believe. I agree.
That makes me happy to hear. I don't meet a lot of people in day-to-day life that appreciate scores, so I really appreciate
Oh, you
that.
never met? Well, yeah, well, you're with the right crowd tonight, sir.
Are you kidding me? I bought more soundtracks as a kid than rock and roll albums.
Absolutely.
I mean, I had to go, you know, whatever movie came out, I had to read the end credits to see who's putting out the soundtrack. And because, forget it. I have more soundtracks in my album collection than anything else. It's pure magic. I keep
It's true.
saying
I
that.
mean, the last piece of autographed memorabilia we got was a soundtrack. It was signed by Huey Lewis.
Right.
The Back to the Future soundtrack. You got that down in
New Jersey.
one and yourself one. Yeah, down in New Jersey.
Now, did you ever get to meet Jerry Goldsmith?
No, I never got to meet Goldsmith. Yeah.
That would have been something.
Yeah, it comes out in social media. Did you ever cry when a celebrity passed away? So that's honestly the only time I've ever wept. I was actually driving on the freeway and listening to Paul Harvey, and Paul Harvey announced that Jerry Goldsmith passed away, and I pulled over to the side of the road, and I had a hard time controlling my emotions. His music meant a lot to me then and now. He's just crazy good, and I find new and fascinating things with his cues all the time I'm listening. He's just incredible. And one of the fascinating things about film music in general is the process called spotting, where a composer emotionally will let you know why music is there or not there. And Goldsmith was the master of that as well. In a movie like Patton, that's 3 hours long, he has the restraint to only have 25 minutes of music. Or like The Shadow, which is one of my favorite scores and my favorite movie of 1994, by the way. But in The Shadow, basically of the 2-hour picture, there's an hour and 50 some minutes of score. So he sometimes will go wall to wall, and other times he's really intentional where the music goes. So it's just fascinating to listen to.
Right.
Oh, Patton is definitely one of my favorite scores of his. I mean, I remember when I first saw that when I was probably like 9 or 10 years old. I was like, I want to go out and join the military right now because of this theme.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean,
Exactly.
it's unbelievable. I have to say, my favorite Jerry Goldsmith score, other than the ones we talked about, the original Planet of the Apes. I mean, you can't get any more different than that.
Right.
That was unique in a whole. Not only was the movie unique, but just the music itself. It felt like it was composed by apes.
It was
in a weird
fantastic.
way. Tremendous. I have total respect for the film composers of every generation because they are giving life to these movies. Like Steven Spielberg said, without that music, a shark is not intimidating.
No, it's not.
All right.
I'm probably going to be overcome with emotion the day John Williams goes, just like Dave was with Mr. Goldsmith. So
Yeah, I won't be. That'll be a tough day. Yeah, and I was, John Barry's my second favorite composer. I had a tough time when he passed away. There was nobody like John Barry.
yeah, I mean, you talked to me a little bit about before the show about how his gateway was very much almost how you treated your gateway into writing with the Meryl Streep incident. Tell the public about because you describe it so well. The Meryl Streep incident.
John Barry, when he was composing for Out of Africa, Sidney Pollack, the director, said to him, "We want you to do this picture, but I don't want any African music in it," which kind of put John Barry back a bit. And if you watch the whole movie, there's nothing but African scenery the whole movie. So on a couple of watches, he noticed in the beginning, there was a look that Meryl Streep was giving on the train as she was looking out the scenery. And it was something about her face and her eyes. And John Barry said, there it is. That's my gateway into this character, was this look. And so the entire theme came from that moment.
I can almost feel that. John Barry wrote the music to Somewhere in Time.
Yeah.
And it's that scene that Jane Seymour shoots Christopher Reeve that grips me in that movie. Yeah. I can almost feel the same way in the way that you described that Meryl Streep look for Barry. It grabs you.
It does. If you look at John Barry's career pre Somewhere in Time, that is the catalyst score. And unfortunately, in his life, that came from great turmoil and loss because both of his parents passed during that same time.
Right.
So he was writing from extreme grief. And so his music post Somewhere in Time is very similar to that. He just found that new language of writing.
It's amazing.
That's just very John Barry, but it didn't start before Somewhere in Time to the degree that it is now.
Yeah, that's a movie that shatters me. I'll tell you, it's an ugly cry for me, and I don't ugly cry at films. I can't watch that film on a regular basis, Dave. Not gonna lie to you.
Well, talking about film composers, I have to give out a mention to one of my favorites, Alan Silvestri.
Oh,
Back to the Future. DeLoreans do not go through time without Alan Silvestri.
No, they don't.
Yeah, no, Silvestri is one of the best. People occasionally ask me, who would you like to score your, the movie in the Lair of Legends? And I always say Alan Silvestri. He'd be absolutely perfect.
This would be fantastic on film. I mean, have you pitched to anyone to take a look at this?
No, I haven't. It's just, I don't know. I'm kind of being weary of everything going back into that world.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of moving forward, but I am very, very confident that the right would be, albeit a producer or director, somebody will read it and say, boy, let's move on this. And of course I'd be open to helping adapt it for sure.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, who better to write the screenplay than the author of the novel? So.
Yeah. I don't know how I'm going to do the inner monologue. That'll be a challenge, but.
You ever been to Boston, Dave?
What was that?
You ever been up this way? You ever been up to Boston?
I have not.
Well, you ever make it up this way is an open invite for us to show you around Martha's Vineyard so that you can visit your all-time favorite movie scenes from Jaws.
Oh, yay.
I have Cape property down there. So me and TC would definitely treat you to lunch over Martha's Vineyard and take you for a tour.
Yeah. We'll make it a for sure thing. I would love to do that. Thank you.
Dave, I wish I could have you on again and again. I hope you come back to the show. But in closing, I just wanted to thank you again. You are a tremendous talent to the world of writing. Believe me. If I could just pump your tires for a minute, and this comes from the heart, I think you're the most genuine, talented, amazing guy that's so low-key that I've met through social media. Your work is phenomenal, and I wish you the absolute best, and I'm glad we connected.
Oh, thank you so much. That really means a lot. Thank you.
Absolutely. Dave, tell all our listeners out there where they can find you on social media, where they can find you online and purchase your wonderful books. And then when you're done with that, give us a quick elevator pitch and maybe a synopsis of your upcoming work.
Okay. If you go to davidbuzan.com, that'll have links to all my social media handles. And on the main page of that, it's also a link where you can buy autographed books from me. If not, all the online major book retailers from Walmart to Amazon to BAM have the books available to order.
All right. Oh, fantastic. So once again, if you've been listening, we've been talking to the best-selling author of the duology, the Legends series, in the Lair of Legends, in the Wrath of Legends, Dave Buzan. He's a screenwriter, an acclaimed author, and just an all-around badass guy. And we're glad that he came on the show tonight. Thanks a lot, Dave.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks to you.
Hello, I'm Abigail Harwood, the new executive producer of After Hours with TC Restani, and I want you to be on our award-winning talk show. Whether it's a Zoomcast or a podcast, or right here in our studio. Follow the information that's on the screen. I can't wait to see you on After Hours with TC Restani.
Hey, I had a great time tonight. I want to thank Dave for coming on the show. And we're going to have him back on when his 4th book comes out in the fall. Thanks for joining us on The Rundown. We'll see you next time.